something for people to remember, that those connections are not meant to last, all of them, for long. Sometimes it's just for one meeting, but we'll see. Maybe we can talk about it later time. But for today, I think we're gonna be talking a little bit of those uncomfortable situations that we are being put up with, and of course they are not meant to make you suffer. It can become unbearable, but it will be repeated as long as you will be kind of rejecting those patterns that are being shown to you. If there are some lessons from the past, and all those repeated cycles, and it doesn't really matter what is the person that is showing you the cycle. It's coming to you, and it's just, if it's coming to you because you haven't resolved that, that's just a call to dig deeper and see, like, what are you missing, like what is this pattern showing you. Maybe there was something very uncomfortable maybe you were not even able to see before. But it's like, if you're patient with that and learn not to judge those experiences, and just sometimes even put it up, those emotional experience, just shut it down for a moment and just give a chance to sink in to those repeated situations, because sometimes it's just, you feel, oh, you're just repeating cycle, the same cycle with just different person. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing the same mistake? So there can be a lot of these uncomfortable thoughts that will be coming to you, and we are speaking from our experience right now, that we are going through the situations that are not super comfortable to be with, but we're kind of challenged, like, what do we do with that? Are we going in and going deeper, or are we deciding to keep it within and just have our own individual battles? mm. Of course, like, we decided just to openly talk about what is coming and why those uncomfortable situations are, and like, how can we try to understand it from both sides.
Yeah, very beautiful. I think that a lot of you are missing the opening of the video. It wasn't clicked to go live. So I don't know from where we actually started all of a sudden for it. Come on, it's a Mercury retrograde. It's all acceptable for it. But I want to say hi to Karen again. That's what I see in the chat. To go back to what Paulina said and about this email in there, when you meet the same person, and that kind of like a 5D that it comes in there, and it doesn't matching the reality within the 3D, and you don't have this energies brewing, you're wondering like, what the heck happened? And then you will find this ignition state was about you to evolve, you to look at the situations and so on inside of you that you have not evolved, you not processed. This could be a emotional damages. This could be a psychological damages. This could be lack of understanding or lack of growth damages in there for what it is. But you will understand that the evolution is there. She has no mercy. She's pushing you to the same things over and over and over. It in there for it, but is there to help you? And that is some of you don't see this for it. Karen said it started with Paulina. Okay, Paulina's got the opening. All right. So here is about to understand that over the time, this twin flame journey is going to be making sense to you. As Paulina said, we are speaking from personal experience, because we're facing what we are facing at over and over, but we're facing those stuff in a 5D and a 4D. Guess what? You think we're not facing it on a 3D? No, we do. And here's what I want to be telling you, that this information that comes in through the spirit, it goes into your own spirit. Then from your spirit, it goes into your soul. Then from your soul, it is getting and it's processing within you, within your heart, within your mind, within your energies there, with your belief system is in there. And then it's processing inside within your brain, that brain, it's releasing the proper chemicals, proper actions, proper reactions that electrify your bodies, and it's producing this vibe from within you. And that vibe purpose, it is about you to put it into action. So the whole chain, it is complete in there. And this is what the evolution basically tells you inside of you from it. Hi, Lorna. Thank you for being here. I just saw Lorna. And talking about that, if you going into the journey, guys, hear this for a second because the microphone is too much in front of me. To be compassionate, be patient, be truthful, be honest, but not only to yourself, but also to your partner. I've been going through an issue of a lack of certain things inside of me that all of a sudden they were causing me these situations, this lack of forgiveness, this lack of situations that is in there, and so on. And I had to go ahead and ask myself, why I got all this in there. And speaking of from this experience, for those energies, they were related to an incident way back, okay, way back in there. And now I evolved from these situations, and I cannot see it that the evolution's pushing me through this issue help me not only how to evolve, but also help me in there to even get better, to improve, not only within me, because when you improve yourself, you also improve the relationship with your counterpart in there. And this is why you're going to be finding it out that all of a sudden you're trying to escape the twin flames journey. You're trying to escape the evolution. You're trying to escape a certain situations, not to work on it. And the evolution is going to tell you when you're going to stop running from this, when you're going to go deep. And when you dive in a deep, this is when you're connecting that energy within your subconscious, like what I did. I connected within my subconscious, and that energy of my subconscious shows me that particular energy. It will show it to me before, but guess what? My ignorance is rejecting it. It's like, that's not it. What does that got to do with anything? Until I figured it out that that kind of like a little problem creates another two problems, another four problems, another 8 problems, another 16 problems. And when you're working on the problem 16, it leads you back into that original one problem. But guess what? It's like, oh, that's not it. Because you're looking at only that problem. You're not broadening your horizons. But if you were asking yourself in the evolution state in there, why did you bring me this inside of me? You will find the correlations is in there. That you created additional problems because of this particular problem, or this particular emotions, or this particular lack of understanding wasn't processed back then. And that creates this emotional wound or energy wound or psychological wound, however it's, and everyone's going to be a different case, that you created all this. And now you feel like you're dealing with so many problems. This so many problems, the evolution is going to come in. It tells you where they came from. You maybe have one core issue. You maybe have 5 core issues. But the evolution is going to be bringing it to you like kind of visions within yourself. What is the root? And you go down to the root and you're fixing the root problem. Once you fix the root, guess what? You're fixing the whole thing. Okay? Maybe that problem, those all of a sudden, those whole big problems, they're going to crush, they're going to crumble within you, and you don't know how to operate now because you've been operating from those problems. But guess what? The evolution, you know what it's going to tell you? Oh, did you see all these problems? Thinking of them like a stones. That pyramid crumble. Now you can build a new pyramid, but with a proper base. You have solutions down in the bottom. Then you have another solutions. Then you have another solution, another solution. Then you have a top solution from within you, which is your spirit. And now you're understanding the principles is in there. You're going to understand the evolution is going to trigger you in there, but you're going to be there for she helps you within. So go back to Paulina because I think I talk too much.
Yeah, several things. I wanted to maybe highlight some of the patterns that we may have, and those are kind of like destructive patterns that if you haven't reached certain stage within the connection, within the soul connection, or even like the relationship, and you're being put in position that you may reach the next stage, the next step, but your memory remembers how it ended previously, like you haven't came across, there is this very strong self-sabotage that you have to be really mindful, because in general we are very good in destroying things. So the moment it get uncomfortable, we would like just to leave it all, especially if you have more this, if you can associate yourself more with this runner dynamic, that you tended to run away from your experiences. That's the safest choice, right? Just to, oh, let's just destroy, let's start over again, so it's all perfect, but I will, next time I will start like from the very proper perfect ground. But there is no such thing as a perfection, and the sooner you understand that those connections are not meant to be perfect, they are meant to continue, they are meant to build, to be built from solid ground, but it doesn't mean that there won't be any cracks, you know. And all of those cracks are those, like, we always have those communications, those discussions that they can patch those cracks as they come, because it's like expecting to build a house and there will never ever be any crack. Of course the cracks will happen, but it always be asking you, like, what are you gonna do with that? Are you gonna destroy it because it got too many cracks, or do you try to repair it, you know, instead of building the brand new house? So I think that's kind of the questions that we always have to ask ourselves, and those thought patterns will be becoming too uncomfortable because you may have different worries about, you know, where is my connection going. It's like it gets really uncomfortable. Is the connection itself the problem, or there is some really deep cause that was not addressed in the past? It may not be even related to your connection, but it's, you know, from my understanding, for example, I spent so many years in the situation that was really not pleasant. At the same time, I was in a relationship, but at the same time, this being in a relationship, I associated with these lower emotional states. Is that that's how my mind remembered it. So whenever I feel I'm in a relationship, that will immediately bring about those lower states. And I was looking into this, like why it's happening, and it feels like my mind was programmed in such a weird way that I have to fight with those lower states, because I know that they are not caused by the connection itself. Like the connection, it will be there as long as it needs to be there, but we have to learn just kind of to take those things as separate, you know. Of course there are some toxic behaviors that we are getting engaged, that we have to monitor whenever those are happening, but many times we are just operating from those old memories or old emotional states that were with us when we were in those previous connections that were not healthy, not fulfilling. But it's just, we also have those tendencies to find the similarities in our experiences. So we won't see thousand things that are different, we'll see those two or three things that are similar, and we're gonna be asking ourselves, are we making the same mistake again, or are we allowing those things to unfold the same way? So it takes a lot of even like detachment from those emotions as they come, because it can be tricky. But then the only way for you to answer, like, where are you standing, it's, are those thought patterns, are they encouraging you to grow and just overcome some of your limitations, or are they leading you towards destruction and just abandoning, you know, just let's just leave it, let's not look into this, it's too much uncomfortable. So I think that's hopefully for some people that's gonna be good encouragement, just to be a little bit more persistent, especially when we're talking about soul connections, where not always all of our bodies, you know, mental and emotional and uh,
Pain
whatever,
body.
like astral, they are not aligned all at once. And it can be tricky because you will have to learn to cope with your emotions, sometimes shut them down or act despite emotional disturbances. So At least that's something I was trying to see, how we can just stop seeing those things from the older perspectives. Each of those experiences are different. As much as you've grown, you can expect that those experiences also will be different, more evolved, more conscious. So that's kind of my personal example. It can be tough when those lower states from the past, it's gonna try to be repeated.
Exactly. That repeating in there, it has its purpose for it, because the evolution says like, I'm repeating this thing because there is something you did not see. So if you take a look at it again of that upside down pyramid, okay, imagine that the pyramid is built this way in there for it. You got that issue, but there is another issue. There is another issue that it's leading to the same thing that you underlooked. You didn't overlook in there. You kind of like disregard it. The best I'm gonna give you how I did it for it is like I zip at my anger, my emotions, my triggers. I stop thinking in there. I end up being in a meditational lockdown mode. So basically, I zip the pain body, I zip the emotional body, I zip the energy body, I zip it up all the astral body and is in there. I zip it up pretty much everything. The only thing that I left in there is allowing to go deep within that energy, but through my soul experience. And I'm like, so show me what you want to show me, and ask me and show me what is this main thing, and why are you keeping bringing up this particular situations that is there. Okay. And all of a sudden it popped out that moment from my early childhood that I begin to develop all the rest of the situation. But I didn't took it through my emotions. I didn't took it through my energies. I didn't took it through anything. Otherwise, that affects me. It that journey, so I can continue to evolve. I saw this role blockage, and evolution said you can't go without pain in there and go into the future. It's not going to happen. And all of a sudden, when you hear that, because you already been evolving enough to listen that voice of the evolution in there, that voice of the evolution that it comes in, you're gonna understand. This is the biggest guidance you can get. The biggest. Because as Paulina said, is this gonna be help me to develop myself and grow and so on, or is actually gonna help me to destroy things? Because if you don't grow, don't do this or this, guess what? The evolution is gonna go back into the same thing, in the same thing, because it's looking at personally within you. It's not about the connection, but your old self leads to the connection, because the connection is the trigger, right? But it doesn't have anything with what it does. Is what it does within you. It's always about with you. So okay, Karen has a question in there. Maybe it's not about making the same mistake, but looking deeper into yourself. You heal in layers. There we go. Exactly, that's what I was talking about. This root layer has another cover of another layers and another layers and so on. And yeah, if you are able to really don't take these personalities and so on, and you go deeper within the layers, what's going to happen if you hit the main layer in there, that main cause? And then all of a sudden, some of your problems disappear. You're acting differently. You're behaving differently. You fix that pattern in your subconscious in there, and you're wondering what just happened. And the evolution is there. It's like, you let it go of these problems, and now you evolve. You're different, and you will see how the twin flames journey is actually helps you not only to evolve, it helps you to make it easy on you. Everyone wants to have an easy life, but if you're carrying all these layers for it, uh, to it, it's not gonna be easy. But you can make it easy by understanding those layers and whatever that is. Maybe there is more, something's more. It kind of comes out as a issue from that. But currently, that childhood issue on there, that is what I found, and is a bottom to it, and that's what we are sharing it with you. Okay, maybe it's not going to apply to some of you because if you are focused too much, my twin, my twin, my twin, my twin, you're gonna missing your part in there, the you part within you. And evolution is going to be asking you, don't look at it within your twin, look at it first within you. But most of the people and eyes I see it in there, they don't looking within themselves. They're looking at the other partner. They're looking for the partner, how the partner is gonna comes in and do this healing core issues. That's not working, guys. And this is why some of those connections they falling apart. They will falling apart because of that um, understanding that the evolution is there to help you, but she has no mercy in there. Oh, you're gonna find that out. If you have not found that out yet, the journey is gonna be leading you to this. For particularly with the people who evolve, you guys gonna be very happy when you understanding this. Let me tell you, this is one of the key elements for it. You're not only to not, as Paulina said, sabotage yourself. No, you're gonna find the key that opens all doors. If you look at it more deeply within yourself, you always have the key within your chest. In there. The only thing you never look at it there. You look at it what is in the other people's necks. You look at it what is in the other situations and so you never look at it within your heart. That's what the key is. And when I open that evolution, when it blooms in there, guess what? Now you begin to understanding why this twin flame thing happening to you. So back to you, darling.
Yeah, it kind of touches base on this topic we were wondering to talk about what happens if your DM doesn't choose you and goes to someone else. And it kind of, we are introducing two perspectives here. One perspective is you're involved with with someone in a connection and you have some internal issues, but the connection stays strong. It's like the evolution itself, they want to keep you within the same connection. They don't want you to run away from someone. You've already been in separation phase. There will be some support system in place that will try to get you to stay within the connection despite your fears and second guessing and all of those things. So you may find yourself in this stage, but on the other side of the spectrum, it's a situation in which we are still involved in some connection and we are the one who are holding on to something, right? And you will be wondering, oh, why my DM is running away from me, why there is no communication, the connection doesn't seem to be, why is it happening? And you see, like, in both those situations, the evolution has the main role here. In one state, the evolution will be trying to get you in one place so you can actually create something because it looks healthy and you did enough work just to try to continue within the stream and this joint stream with another person. While on the other side, if you feel that the connection is kind of, there is not the proper communication, there is not the proper exchange of energies, that's just the evolution reminding you, hey, just shift your focus. This connection is not happening. If you call someone DM and this DM it's running away or is involved in another connection, or for whatever reason they're getting married and they don't talk to you, there cannot be clearer sign from the evolution that this door is not available right now. So this is like, and that's the evolution. They don't try to keep you within the connection. If they want to keep you within the connection, they would help you. They would encourage you. You wouldn't have to cling on something that is not healthy. That would be completely different dynamic. But it's really, it calls to me like those two perspectives, or maybe two different stages, but the one common piece is this evolution. It's either it will be asking you to keep going and keep continue building and don't abandon things, don't run away from things. But the other way will be, okay, just you have to really reconfigure and just rethink those things. Is this dynamic that you're involved with, is it two-sided? Is there a proper exchange? Is it mutual openness and connection? So the evolution will be, of course, want you to get away from those kinds of dynamics, that you have to question other people's motives, that there is some shady, someone is not choosing you. If someone is not choosing you, that's basically the reality that you have to face. There is no doubt. If you're involved in the connection itself, it's strong, but it's your some of your internal thoughts. You're never second guessing another person, you're second guessing yourself. So this is really like, it comes very strong as it's always, there's this internal force that will be leading you towards the next stage. Either it will be ending something because it's really, you outgrown this part of experience, you don't need it anymore, or keeping you and building something and making it strong, not abandoning and running away. So hopefully you just have to see which state you're at, right? Like, it's, are you the one to want to run away, or are you clinging onto something that it's just, it's very painful to let go of?
Hmm. Those realizations in there, the evolution is gonna come to you. As Paulina said, those two different processes in there. But the evolution is gonna come with something very important and very powerful. She's going to remind you about itself. And let me tell you how that feels. When you go through all these situations and so on and so on, and the evolution is gonna ask you, so what? You're not gonna work on yourself. You're not gonna be fixing these situations for it, and you think it's your relationships, and you're gonna be abandon the ship, or you're gonna be working on yourself and see how you're gonna be maturing on that. And that comes in first, as we talked about it, your personal relationships with you. You need to understand, in order to become the one, you have to work on you to unify yourself with the soul and the spirit that is within yourself, within your body. It's called embodiment of the soul. Until you don't make this oneness in there, that embodiment of the soul, that's what the evolution purpose is here for you. She's like, okay, are you still have these ego triggers? Are you still have these situations? Are you still got those and so on and so on? You're gonna understand things far beyond your knowledge. Even if you're not a highly educated, the information from the evolution is gonna come in. She's gonna lead you. Go research this. Go research that. Go researching those stages. Go researching in there and so on and so on. To it, and you're gonna be flowing with this. There, Karen. There is a big difference between having the first twin flame experience and being a twin flame connection in union. So indeed, step back into reality. Actually, yes, that first awakening in there triggers all your bodies, makes you feel complete, makes you feel gives this energy of completion. It shows the road, and this is what everyone it's clinching about it. They're holding it so tight and they don't want to let it go. But guess what? Sooner or later, there is this separation. Why? Because they don't work that out. They don't get these processes. They're coming from spirit and the soul. They're not processing within the heart. They not evolve within the emotions and the energies. And guess what? It only stays as an ignition. And now neither the one, neither the other person does the work of the evolution. I guess what evolution is gonna tell you guys, oh well, you guys don't do the work. Why should I have to be messing with you? I can invest some time, energy, and effort in some other couple. They don't want to do this work in there. And then when you become this twin flame in the connection into a union in there, so that is a this twin flame experience right now that it pays off, and then you become this one. A lot of the people still don't realize that the twin flame is a journey. I read the one report actually today, and there is no medical proof that the twin flame exists. I'm like, who wrote this article? It's a medical magazine article, and well, this is what the evolution does. Because every time when I go and I research this medical proofs about situations and so on and so on, um, the evolution told me go research mirroring neurons, go research scanning of the brains, go figure it out, the medical proof. And there is a medical proof, right? But you see, it's all about what you want to see in there. But if you listen the intuition, that evolution in there, evolution is directly connecting to improving your intuition. But it's going to ask you for a lot of things in return. Don't abandon, don't grow, don't be in the lower energies. See the lower energies, but don't be in it. Don't act like a, you know what I mean, selfish and so on and so on, just about me. And she's gonna be asking you to be truthful and honest to yourself. It's like, okay, I have this problem, then I have to look at this problem, and not like you're not going in there. But when a devolution comes in, it tells you how to fix this problem. She gives you the solutions, and it helps you to evolve. But the people don't want to evolve; they want to receive everything. And this is why a lot of the twin people who are on the twin flame journey, that's what the lack of it is. But if you understand this is what you're lacking, you will understand that this is the place that you need to work on it, and so on. Back to you, darling, if you have something to say.
Yeah, I want to touch base on Karen's comment. Thank you about this difference and this reality check, because that's at some point we are anchoring this energies here, and we have to have some proofs. You know, we are talking about spirituality here and energies, but it has to start manifesting one way or another, and those will be those reality checks. Where do you stand? And you know, you can see how this evolutionary process will be giving you the manifestations of those energies on earth, and you can see them, like you can literally see how people are acting towards you. If you have someone that despite all this hustle and difficulties, they still are involved in the connection, they want to work it out, you feel that, you know, there is still mutual interest. That's your 3D manifestations of your twin flame connection in here. If you have something that it's a shutdown and it's one-sided and the door is just from one side it's open but another one is locked, that's your 3D manifestation that your twin flame connection is going completely south, because you cannot manifest those energies. Yes, you have 5D communication, but where is it going? It's getting lost on earth. So at the same time, it's like it's never hurts to get into those reality checks, especially when you're having these difficult times, you know, to see, okay, what am I trusting? Like, there is nothing I can trust. All of that experience that I imagine, maybe it's all false. Maybe I got lost in my own belief systems again. And then the only thing that it's left is, okay, let's do a reality check. Let's see. Maybe let's turn back to psychology. Let's see. Maybe I have still some condition that maybe there is some, whatever, personality disorder that makes me think certain way, although the experience I'm experiencing is completely different. Where are those fears? Where are those assumptions that it's leading to this specific situation? So I think it's, people like to say that, oh, I believe in 5D and that's all it is, and I know for sure it's real. But if
Hmm.
you really want to incorporate everything here and just have this union on all the levels, like, you may not like it, but it has to manifest here, because otherwise, I'm sorry, but we are all these projections and there is no proof to that. And yes, maybe it's manifesting on some other timeline, but you're not able to experience it here. You're picking up on something that doesn't exist here. So thanks for that, Karen, because it's always, of course, it's gonna be different as you go along. You will be seeing that it's not that much about your partner, and they, if they run, then it's okay, let them run. But what can I do with this, like, to get me higher, not to get them back, but what can I do to maybe not care that much that they are running away? Mm, yeah,
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oop, there is gravity. Back to reality. On.
I have one more things to add about this
Go ahead, go ahead.
protective mechanism that it's in place, because I can see it so clearly in those times that, as humans, we all have those difficult times, and some portion of you may just want to abandon it. Can I just shut it down? Can I just pretend that the whole experience is not happening? But then it is very, very like the last limits of your um, maybe will or motivation. There will be always some, a little bit like a flag from the connection itself, right? Like, there will be some, like, this little sign that you're not being left out. Like, I was telling Dio that I was going back from my work, and I was crossing two streets, and I passed the fire trucks on alarm. I passed it once. I was like, okay, let them fix whatever they have to fix. But then I crossed the next street, and the next intersection, that was the same situation, that I had to stop because the fire trucks were rushing to help. So that's, those kinds of experiences are always leaving you with the sense that, yes, if you really try to do your work, and if you need to just shut down for a moment, but just be mindful that it's better to wait out those difficult periods than shut it down. Because, if it's something is meant to dissolve, it will be dissolving without your influence. The same way it's sometimes, if things are meant to continue and just it's your personal temporary breakdown or whatever case, it will get back to normal. So it's like, I think it's probably the power of just waiting out, but it can be very difficult to keep continue working on from both sides. Like, it really takes two conscious people to want to work out those insecurities, those fears, those, angers from the past, or despite those imperfections, just still continuing on, just building the connection further. And then you will have this third energy that comes, like, if you reach this state of union or this balanced state, there's always a little bit addition that makes it a little bit easier in those super hard moments. But again, like, it has to be those two conscious beings, they have to be involved, not just one.
Exactly,
Mm.
because one of the two consciousness in there within the union, within the twin flame journey, in there, the positiveness that it brings in there. You see, it's a one thing you to talk about this within your mind. You have this mind games and so on and so on. It's totally another history and story when you actually performing it in 3D. But you will not be able to perform it there in the 3D if you have not evolved. And this is what Paulina is trying to tell you. Twin flames is that consciousness in there that the two people's consciousness comes in and they work the things out together. Okay? And then you will be thankful to the evolutions that brought you to this. Thankful understanding all this. Then you will understanding why the evolution drags you through the whole this journey. And now you're gonna have the energies to keep on going no matter what. As the same way, you try to abandon the twin flame journey personal within yourself, but there is always something goes back in there. There was another question that was asked for it. Why do I always keep ending up into a twin flame when I want to get out? Simple. You are awakened and the evolutionist is after you. You're trying to run away from it and get away from it. You can't. You can keep fighting from yourself. And then, I mean, what is that going to lead in there to it? But check the reality is also going to help you to understand why did this kind of like a twin flame journey in there. It's coming to you all the time. Okay. What is that trying to tell you? What is that trying to improve you? What is that is in there for you? Okay. Because after awakening your understanding, some of the truths that you knew of what and how the world operates in there, now you're operating on totally new system, totally new energies. Some of your feelings in there are replaced with energy, gravitational field. You feel the gravity, you feel the energies, and the energies are turning to emotions. Huge evolution, a huge upgrade in there. But at the same time, when you are not, when you are going through the life with this, you are gonna be have to make the difference between personal relationship and the society. Also have this energy field, this collective mud, I would say, in there. And some people like to stay in the mud. You see it. You see how the other people that can get out. You see how you feel how the other people's getting in there. You talk to other people, and guess what? They cannot evolve. They don't want to. Why? Because it's hard. Because it's unpleasantful. I have to deal with the crap that I haven't dealt all my life in there. But if you deal with it, you become this example for the people how to get off of the mud. Okay, very beautiful stories written about this in a one book for it. It's called Illusions by Richard Bach. Richard Bach. He's talking about the story about this people living constantly holding themselves, and they were living underwater in that river. And if they let themselves go, they cannot get out. And one of the guys decided to. It's like, I'm not living into this. I'm not holding into this. And I'm not going to be holding all my life, holding for these stones and living on this here. I want to see what is that living in there. He let himself go and he came out of the water. He didn't have to stay all the time in the water. He had to walk around the world. He get himself out of the mud. And that's what the evolution is trying to help in there. Is your journey together now easier after having both previous twin flame experiences? Actually, yes. Oh God, yes. We're not only looking at the twin flame experience actually with the previous connections, for, but we are looking at and realizing that what is the difference now than the previous connections. Our differences first, my own personal differences first, as a Paulina looking at her differences first, and then from that we are putting at this collectiveness in there. Huge thing it is there that we actually are thankful of those previous experiences. And here is the voice of the evolution. You're going to evolve or repeat. What will you choose? Evolution always asks you for choices. And as you know, in there, for it, when you have rough time, what kind of choices you need to make, as Paulina say, wait it out, because there is some processes inside of you that have to go on in there. But the previous energies, the previous connections, and so on, yes, they have a benefit. But we also see the limitations of the previous connections in there, that they did not want it to work. As a Paulina said, you have these projections, expectations, rooms in there within your mind, in there for it, that you are going in there, but they don't lead to nothing, right? They don't lead to anything. And then you understand that going into those rooms inside of your consciousness in there, it's pointless. You lock him up and just leave him. Let him be in there. They haven't brought anything in there. Because now you're looking at for the actual real uh, reality check of what it takes to be a real in the twin flame, is a real twin flame in the 3D. You're not talking about this La La Land and 5D and so on. We're talking about really to perform, to put those energies on the ground there. And it helps us a lot for it. And Paulina's can share about herself for it. So back to you, darling.
Right. It's pretty useful to get back to the old experiences, although it may be tricky not to end up in the cycle of ever ending comparing because, especially when you had this catalytic experience. Yes, it's beautiful, but at the same time, you don't have to do anything. Like it just happens on your own. You're not really involved in building anything from that. It just kind of slaps you in the face and it comes to you, and it's just this sense of pure love. It just comes, you don't have to touch it. It just comes so naturally. So it can plant this idea that, oh, that's gonna be all of my soul experiences from now on. It's gonna be this way. That's how love should looks like. And then you have this other soul connection when you're getting more conscious, that it feels like, oh, you have to actually put some work in there. It's not as beautiful, it's not as ideal, it's not as easy. And they will be asking you for choices. It's not gonna be as, there is no clinging, because after you've done your work during separation, you kind of got your power back. You know that you always have a choice. You don't have to cling to anyone, but it will be still asking you, are you still ready to choose this person, even though, oh, you see, this is not a perfect being. We had this tendencies to probably see like this first twin flame experience as the person was flawless. There was nothing wrong with them. Did you really know them? Like, did you really had a chance to go as deep as with this next connection that when you increased in consciousness? So this is something that really to be mindful when we are try to compare the experiences. The first catalytic experience, when you are dealing with those energies for the first time, it will be perfect. It will be like God sent, and that's all you need, and that's 100% match. And especially what can happen, that, and I believe that happened to us, we had this ideal version of this 3D person that we think we need. It's ideal, and the universe will be coming to you. Okay, are you able to perform if your soul connection is nothing like that? It's just completely not your idealized version. And that's a real test for you, because you will have to choose. Are you continuing towards your wishes, or are you continuing to the what evolution showed you? Because that's your energetic match right now. It's not your human based understanding match. So at least that's, I'm speaking from my experience, because talking about the twins, this first catalytic experiences, yes, there will be, as we are so similar, oh my god, we have everything in common. Then you're getting another soul connection that it's, oh my god, why we are so different? But something tells me we are the same. There is this, there will be this soul resonance and soul similarity that it will working it out through up to the 3D level. So yes, you will be getting more similar, because that's how it's just those higher energies will be coming into process. but really don't expect those next um, experiences to be as easy, as smooth, and as workless. I don't have to touch it, and it will be all beautiful, and it will go on its own. It's actually this gonna be a never-ending task to choose each other. And whenever you're tempted to compare your catalytic experience with your next one, just make sure, were you in the same state of consciousness, were you taking a look into all your different bodies, all your different levels, or talking about we are so similar? Did you just meant this human based understanding and just what do we like, what food we like, what kind of maybe sense of humor we have, all this very superficial thing that just have to go very very deep to see if were you really that similar, or maybe that was where the similarities were ending. There was nothing really more because you didn't even had a chance. So I would say in general, it really helps to have those previous experiences, especially that we are talking so much about the cycles. So from time to time when we're dealing with something, we'll be asking, oh, did you get that from the previous experience? And very often it's like, yes, I've been there, like we had exactly the same conversation. And how did it end? It Oh, it ended badly because we didn't get to this next stage. So it's definitely, once you see this from this perspective, you will be asking yourself, okay, there has to be a way out to get to the next stage, just not to break the cycle, let's continue with the cycle. So this increase of awareness, it really helps. But maybe just to end with this point, it's what helped me is really to take care of my body and mm, my part of the journey. Once this separation happened, and I really took time to heal all those patterns or all those limits that were shown to me, just not to have to deal with them at any point. I didn't, at some point I didn't really do that, oh, because my twin will be back. It would be anytime when I am dealing with someone, I have to have some certain level of readiness that I want to build this connection, right? So that's this power of the separation period when you're really doing the work and not trying to distract yourself.
Yeah, another thing that helps with that experience in there is like I was putting the previous connections in the pedestal. They came from the divine. That's me. They're God. Yeah. You all did that. Okay. Now you're understanding that your actual energy, twin flame, is not going to be above you. It's not going to be below you. It's going to be next to you, walking the same path with you. They're equal to you. The only time they become unequal if you're putting on the top or you're putting yourself on the top of the connection and try to steer the connections and so on and so on to it. And then you're understanding the journey of the twin flame is you. That personality towards yourself is going to be reflecting the personality next to you. And then to this mutuality that you have, you work the things out. And every time you make that happen, you make that work that out, you will understand why the previous connections didn't work that out. Either you or the other person didn't want to make the things worked out. Maybe they had a different agenda. Maybe they thought they are better than you. Maybe they have something else as an agenda and so on. It doesn't matter anymore. It is what it is. It was what it was. You look at it right now, what it is in there. And Karen asks, so in short, union the both are in a 3D reality instead of living in the fantasy. Exactly. But the people don't want to deal with the 3D reality. They want the 5D reality. They want to have this magical thinking and so on and so on. Without understanding, the evolution is asking this 5D to manifest in the 3D. You are the manifester of this energy. You are the conduit. You are the cable. You are getting this energy of that 5D is you performing it in the world. And yes, you're not in this fantasy la la land anymore. You're in the reality, as the reality is, because the reality, it is what it is. No more projections, no more expectations, because that takes energy of the reality of what it is. You're ending that kind of like a story about projections and expectations. Now, the energy that you put into our expectations and so on, it is present and available to use to perform. And this is what the evolution is going to be asking you. You have to get rid of all that stuff. And when you do that, and you begin to have real life, a real experience with real energies, with the real performance. But guess what? It's not going to be easy because you have to facing the things that you are facing even from before. You have to face them in the material world. You have to complete with actions in the 3D. Actions. Actions speaking louder than the words. I see some twin flames. They talk and it is and so on and so on. All of a sudden, they're like in the connection system. They're in actions. What is that all about? Right? And this is what is to make the these separations between a fantasy and the reality. When you take the reality, let me tell you, the evolution is going to be more pleased, and your life is going to be more easier in there. Yeah, you're going to face some things, you're going to face some stuff, but it's going to be more easier to face them. You're not going to run from it. You're just going to go keep on going because you're understanding. If you don't keep on going, the situation is going to be repeated. It's going to bring you exactly the same point, exactly the same situation, and exactly the same thing. And you're going to be understanding you waste time or lost soul in there. And this is why it's so important to stay in the it is what it is. Living by it is what it is not hard, but it'll take you time until you get there. But once you get there, all another story. It's a reality. Okay, guys? So that's all I have for you. Darling, if you have something to say.
No, I think that's we covered it all. Thanks, guys, for sharing. Thanks, Lauren and Karen, for coming to the chat. If there are any questions, just put them here in the comments. I'm gonna see you next time, next week.
Yeah.
Reminder to everyone to this reality check. Probably it's always good.
If you guys have any idea for advanced topic or advanced things that you guys want us to talk about it for, let us know to it. And we always like to hear your feedback, even if it's not here. You can send us an email to our website. It's right above the screen for it, but you also can find it in the channel how to reach us out. Okay, guys. So let's share the love and the light. Thank you guys for coming in. And as Paulina said, we're going to meet you next week. Okay, guys? So you're welcome. You're welcome, Lorna.